Here's the pass down the field, and it's Johnson wide open for the touchdown. Diontae Johnson.
Welcome back to 5-Star Matchup. If you like what we do, make sure you subscribe now and turn on notifications. Oh, how I've missed thee. We're finally back with some actual highlights in tow from the greatest rivalry in sports this century, and I hope you're ready. Steelers come into this one sporting their worst run defense since Babe Ruth's last full season, and you gotta love that matchup against the greatest running quarterback of all time. Right? Remember this one for later, a little bit of an off night for the normally excellent Mark Andrews, who can't quite hang on. Doesn't matter because the Steelers' inside backers couldn't cover the inside of a paper bag, and the Ravens are unsurprisingly on the move early. Another gash up the gut, this time from Devonta Freeman, who's turning back the clock to 2015, and the Steelers' pathetic run defense is getting so blown up that the fullback doesn't even need to block anyone. Man, it's a good thing that Dennis Rodman moved to North Korea and freed up his nickname because there's a new worm on the block and he's taken down Action Jackson to start his career night. 3rd and 6, and the Ravens make the odd choice of leaving the best defensive player completely free to run at their quarterback, and it ends exactly how you might expect, with an absolute lollipop of a pick for the Mink Man. Oh, what a turn of events. The exact sort of moment that's been missing all season suddenly happens with the team's 2 best players in their biggest game of the year. Don't grab the stethoscope just yet, but I do think the Steelers have a pulse? Oh yeah, the offense, though. Back to Lamar and the gang, and it's another wide open Mark Andrews and another ball on the turf. I'll say thanks to the man for putting in work on my fantasy team this season, but Travis Kelce, he is not. Steelers facing a 3rd and 2, and what do you know, it's another outside go that ends up with both Chase the Bank and the football landing with a resounding thud. Not sure I can get the thinking here, and tired of seeing these all year. Just get the 2 yards, Matt. Gapote alert. Possibly the greatest punt in the history of football right here from young Press the Thick, who absolutely slams a 64-yard coffin corner that I am positive Pat McAfee is going to lose his mind over. Always important to set the tone on a series starting at the 1, and of course. 2nd and 5, and common theme of the night continues this time with twice robbed Defensive Player of the Year Trent Jordan Watt sacking Lamar for his first of an epic night on national TV for number 90. All for naught though, as a frustrating 3rd and long conversion by the Ravens leads us into the second quarter. Steelers back off on another 3rd and long, and Jackson does what he does by making a little time and finding his man Andrews for another conversion, and this drive simply refuses to die. Might as well write this down before the snap because it's another 3rd and long for the Ravens, and it's a wide open Andrews again deep and waiting for it perfectly betwixt the coverage, and the Ravens are knocking on the door once again. Still unconvinced it's not 2015, Devonta Freeman takes the tote directly at the gut, and as per usual, the Steelers' middle linebackers might as well not even be there. Ravens take the second quarter lead 7-0, and the way the Steelers' offense has been playing, it might as well be 21-0. Am I right? Nope, almost never. After a grueling 10-minute, 99-yard drive, do Big Ben and the Steelers' offense have it in them to respond? Whoa, how about this little Canadian bacon action from the much-maligned first-year coordinator who's finally willing to use the one advantage of his offensive line, their athleticism, to get Najee in space. You love to see it. Ben goes for the meek check down on 3rd and forever, and troublingly, it's right back over to the black and gold defense. Often behind in the down and distance battle today, the Ravens take a chunk back on 2nd and 19, but ultimately Bam Bam KM takes down Lamar, and it's time to see if Ben and the boys have it in them to hit the pre and post half double dip. Great back shoulder toss to the bank for a drive starter, followed by catch and run in stride straight from the Book of Muth, and just when you think you're out, they pull you right back in. 2nd and 5 now, and yeah, I guess Marlon Humphrey is pretty good, but on this snap, Diontae Johnson is better, and all I gotta say is if you still got any questions about whether or not DJ is a number 1 receiver, at this point, you're just hating on my guy. Seemingly agreeing with me on this very next snap, it's Large Benjamin getting a little time and firing a pitch-perfect laser to that same number 18, who, as if trying to contradict me, drops it. Just a killer for the man who has been so incredibly reliable all season. I'll give him a pass because I might know the future, but in the moment, plays like this from your best players hurt, especially when the entire team is struggling. Horrendous tip drill almost oops on third, but it thankfully falls to the ground and they roll out the Boz, who as usual is... Big Ben storms off fired up, and we head into the half like all Steelers and Ravens games should, with a score of 7-3. We're back, and while the scoreboard is about as tight as could be, the box score screams anything but. But whoever said numbers mattered in football? A rare play for Mr. Ray, who lays out for a beauty of a catch, but upon further inspection by the nefarious and seemingly blind zebras, they strip my man of the play of his career, and the Steelers' drive stalls out. Back to Baltimore's offense, and it's another week and another great play in the run game by Alexander the Great, who continues to excel in that facet of play early in his career. Steelers, though, have apparently never met a 3rd and forever they liked enough to stop, and you already know it's more poor tackling that your uncle is going to text you about, leading to another huge conversion for Action Jackson, keeping the drive alive. I don't want to freak you out too much, but when Joe Show is making plays in the run game, you might have to realize it could be a good night at the office. Steelers surrender just an eternity of time here on 2nd and 12, and Lamar takes full advantage to the tune of another first down on the ground, and the Steelers are clearly choosing death by paper cuts on this fine December evening. Jackson fires incomplete on 3rd though, and the Ravens take the easy 3 with the greatest kicker of all time, and hey yo, it's 10-3 bad guys. After another failed Steelers drive, the Ravens take over and Lamar's rolling and dishing, this time finding a wide open Hollywood Brown for a chunk of a drive starter. Simply refusing to go down without a fight, the Steelers D valiantly rushes Lamar Jackson, and TJ and Worm share a picnic basket lunch atop the quarterback's fresh corpse. Pressure again gets to him on 3rd, and it's over to the Steelers offense as we head into the final stanza. Game-turning sequence here as the Steelers elect to run Najee into a brick wall on 2nd and 1, but on 3rd and 1, it's, by God, it's a play action down the middle to chase the bank, and the man is off and galloping into Ravens territory. Make sure to hit play on that Spotify for my guy. What a hookup at a giant moment by Big Ben and the much criticized chase the bank that completely alters the complexion of this game. Wait, it's another play action and down the middle, and it's wide open? Ben hits Deontay for the earth-shattering touchdown, and the Steelers pull within punching distance right as we get the 4th quarter underway. Tie game, and it's anybody's to... What the fuck? I just... You know, it's just... Hey, want to share things that are bullshit with each other? How about this awful pass interference call on the McMahon, who's simply playing his man and even turns to look for the ball, but somehow draws the flag because it's such a truly terrible throw by Jackson. Look, if this is a penalty, I'm not sure why we bother with defense. 3rd and 4, and Jackson gets to the perimeter, but can't quite get to the sticks, and the Ravens again have to settle for the automatic field goal. Baltimore 13, Steelers 9. You know, a 4-point lead is great, but a motivated Hall of Famer is even better, and Large Benjamin is feeling like winning. Let's get to why we're all here. Great RPO throw by Roethlisberger, who hits Deontay in stride, and he casually says "nah son" to the first tackle and scampers for a bunch more. Hey, remember that guy arguing with me on Twitter a few weeks ago that Rashad Bateman has been as impactful as Najee? You think he still feels that way? Anybody want to check on that guy? Drive stalls out again, but Steelers are content lining up the Boz, who as always is... It's a 1-point game at a rocking Heinz Field, and that spells disaster for Lamar and the boys in white and purple, but they still don't know it. Another poor throw by Jackson and worse attempt at a catch by Sammy Watkins, who somehow used to be a number 1 wide receiver in this league, and that takes us to a 2nd and 10. Luckily for Steelers fans, nobody loves 2nd and 10s more than the 2021 Defensive Player of the Year, Trent Jordan-Watt, who grabs another sack on the most dynamic running quarterback of all time. No big deal. Just goats doing goat shit. 3rd and 15 now, and I'm going to have to double check my notes here because it says great coverage by Akello Witherspoon? Okay. Jokes aside, I thought Akello actually played well today, clearly head and shoulders above Pierre's recent performances. Good for him. Gotta have role players, and what a role player Zach Gentry is turning into. More filed under, you love to see it. Oh, you're gonna play off on Deontay? LOL, okay. Have you noticed that Najee gets better as games go on? Dude's a heavyweight boxer. Just gotta let him feel it out for the first few rounds. He'll start connecting. You know things are going good when you could smell that smell, and don't freak out, but the Steelers are 100% fixin' to win this game. Another almost oops negated by an obvious pass interference, and the Steelers are looking at a 1st and 10 at the 21 with the clock getting smaller and smaller. What did I say about smelling that smell? You can say there's no such thing as Benny, but as for me and Mike Tomlin, we believe. On purpose, offsides moves the Steelers inside the 10, and it's time to crunch some numbers. With 2 minutes on the clock and all 3 Baltimore timeouts, the Steelers elect to run this one up the gut for nothing, dial up a safe bootleg that gets a couple on 2nd, and ultimately set up a monumental 3rd and goal from the 5.
And throw it right away. Here's a 3rd and goal. Roethlisberger waits, now throws, and is across for the touchdown. Deontay Johnson.
Deontay Johnson is the best player on this offense, and simply put, you're blind if you're not seeing it. Time and time again, he's been the go-to guy in huge moments this season and has delivered just about every single time. Faced with the earlier missed extra point, the Steelers are forced to go for 2 to make it a 7-point lead, and that's as easy as a flip out to the man they call Muth, and before you can even say holy shit, the Steelers are in the lead, 20-13 with just under 2 minutes to go. Just another 4th quarter comeback drive for our hero in the number 7 jersey, making it 5 on the season if they can hold on. Because as a Steelers fan, you're not allowed to take anything for granted, and of course Boswell's kick develops its own artificial intelligence and decides to roll out of bounds after discovering its own sense of self, and the Ravens start at the 40. You already know the Ravens are making this a game one way or another, so of course Jackson finds Brown wide open again, and Baltimore is in plus territory before you can even call him a running back who throws. Mollett chooses to let Duvernay by without so much as a thought, and the Ravens are moving closer by the chunk. Time of no concern with plenty left, Jackson hits Watkins, who forces an ugly rep from the otherwise great Minka, and the Ravens are on the attack with 40 seconds to go. 14 seconds to go now, and just way too much time for Lamar, who's able to hit a streaking Sammy Watkins for the scorewood over Trey Norwood, and maybe just maybe the Steelers' comeback was all for naught. What do I know? Ever the players' coach, Harbaugh decides instead of sending it to overtime with the best kicker of all time, that he wants instead to end it right here and right now, setting up a do-or-die 5-star play of the game.
What a decision this is. The game hinges on one play. Jackson flings it. Andrews can't get to it. Could not reel it in.
In his best game of the season, which is really saying something, TJ Watt completely ignores the play fake and applies the heat to Lamar Jackson, forcing an errant throw just outside of Mark Andrews' massive frame, and the ball falls with a resounding thud. And just like that, when you least expected it, the Pittsburgh Steelers show a backbone we weren't sure they possessed anymore. With questions swirling around the present and future of this team and so many of its players, they went and did what so few likely thought was possible, and that's beat a streaking Ravens team who came into today leading the AFC. Does this team make sense? No. Are they bad? I don't think so. Are they good? Can I say it's still too early to tell in week 13? Truth is, your guess is as good as mine. I feel like every single week that we watch this team, we somehow know less about who they are and what they're capable of. But what is sure at this point in time is that they're right in the thick of the playoff hunt, and the old gunslinger lives to fight another week. Does the old cowboy have a little more magic left in him? Or was today simply his Clint Eastwood in Unforgiven moment? Only a few days until the next one. Here we go. And if you're still here, make sure you're subscribed. And if you're already subscribed, please consider donating to our Patreon at patreon.com/5SMU. Helps keep the show running, helps us make good content for you, so on and so forth. Just make sure you watch.